Now, one of the most impactful skills that I have developed as a side hustling mompreneur is content creation and content planning. Because, when you have little ones, when you have a full-time job, you have a business, your time is so precious. And planning your content can make a huge, huge difference for marketing, for being able to show up for your brand. And so I've really been able to figure out how can we effectively create content. Here's the thing. Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hello, and welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, and I'm so excited to have you here today. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be sharing a quick mini masterclass that I originally taught for a colleague of mine. As I was teaching it, I really thought to myself, this would be really, really valuable content that I could repurpose for the podcast. And so I was like, let's just go ahead and mix it together and put it together and wrap it up with a nice little pretty bow. So if you've ever felt like creating content takes too much time or you just don't know where to start, this episode is going to walk you through exactly how I plan and batch a month worth of content in just a few focused hours. I use this process for myself. I use this for my clients that I also service here in Houston. And so even if you're balancing motherhood, a business, and a 9-to-5, this episode is going to be for you. So inside this mini training, you are going to learn how to plan content that positions you as the go-to in your industry, the 4 types of content themes to focus on each month, how to batch create everything you need in just 3 hours or less, simple editing tips that won't overwhelm you, and how to schedule your content so you're never scrambling to post again. So whether you're a side hustler or a busy mompreneur, or just ready to simplify your content strategy, you are going to walk away from this episode knowing exactly what you need to do next. So let's get into it. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something special for all of my side hustlers out there. Are you building a business while working a 9-to-5 and you're tired of wasting time on marketing strategies that don't actually move the needle? Then you're going to want to get plugged into my weekly newsletter. Every single week, I'm giving you the real behind the scenes scoop on what's actually working in marketing and business. No fluff, no gatekeeping, just real strategies, insights I'm testing in my own business, and practical tips that you can apply right away. If you want to work smarter and not harder and finally start seeing momentum, then head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/newsletter and get locked in. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Well, hello there, and welcome to the Call to Both podcast. I am so excited to be guest hosting on this episode because Joy Michelle is absolutely amazing. I have been a fellow Call to Both podcast listener, and so I'm so excited to be filling in while she is on maternity leave. It is truly an honor to be able to hold it down for her and support into such an amazing community of women who are also called to both motherhood and entrepreneurship. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Carly and I am a wife, a mom, I'm a corporate professional, and I'm also the founder of CD Creative Co., which is a content creation agency based here in Houston, where we help women entrepreneurs batch create their content in just one day for the month to market their business. And so I actually started my entrepreneur journey back in 2023 with social media management. And after a couple of pivots, I found myself really falling into the place of content creation and marketing. And that has been my place where I extremely love and thrive. And so now I am also a podcast host as well for the Side Hustler podcast, which is also a podcast that helps side hustling women entrepreneurs simplify their content strategy so that they can market their brands effectively while also balancing their 9 to 5. So, I know a little thing or two about balancing motherhood, business, and full time jobs and businesses. So, I'm excited to be here and thank you so much for having me. Now, one of the most impactful skills that I have developed as a side hustling mompreneur is content creation and content planning. Because, when you have little ones, when you have a full time job, you have a business, your time is so precious. And planning your content can make a huge difference for marketing, for being able to show up for your brand. And so I've really been able to figure out how can we effectively create content. Here's the thing. Content creation does not have to be overwhelming, okay? There are 720 hours in a month, and you only need 6 valuable quality hours to create, edit, and schedule your monthly content. That's not even 10%. That's not even 1%, okay? So in today's episode, we're going to be diving in on how you can plan your content so it positions you as an expert, what type of content you actually need to be creating, how to batch your content in 3 hours or less, easy editing tips that can help you get your content edited fast, and how to schedule your content so you never stress about posting again. So let's get into it. Now, the first step we're going to talk about is brainstorming your content, okay? Now, when it comes to brainstorming, I want you to be intentional about your brainstorming time. I want you to set aside about an hour, either with a timer or a Pomodoro clock, and really make sure that you are able to focus on brainstorming without distractions, okay? I know as a mom, as a mompreneur, that can be so difficult, but during this time, I want you to make sure that you are able to dive deep and be intentional about brainstorming your content. But also choose a time that you are most productive. Meaning, if you're a morning person, then definitely stick to the mornings. But if you're a late owl like me, choose to set your brainstorming time in the nighttime when the little ones are asleep and the house is quiet and all of the things, okay? Now, ideally, you shouldn't have to spend a lot of time here, which is why I always just tell people to budget 1 hour. But in this 1 hour, I want you to really dive deep. Start with a brain dump. I want you to think of the recent questions people may have asked you, common struggles your audience has faced, or even content that inspired you while you're scrolling on social media. Yeah, I want you to write all of that down without any filter. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can use a whiteboard, you can use a notebook, sticky notes, or even a voice note if that's your style. But once you brain dump all of your ideas, I want you to narrow it down to 4 core content themes. Have you ever found yourself stuck on what to post or struggling to stay consistent on social media? I've been there, and that's exactly why I created this free guide called 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. This guide is loaded with prompts to get your gears turning so you can have a gallery of content to create for your brand and never stress about what to post again. And you can grab it right now at cdcreativecoagency.com/content and start creating content that connects without the stress. The one goal that I want you to focus on here is coming up with 4 key concepts or themes that you can talk about for the month. So for example, as a content creator and a marketing strategist like myself, an example of content ideas for me could look like week 1 being social media profile optimization, and week 2 could be content optimizations. Week 3 could be visibility strategies. Week 4 could be increasing sales with your content. So once I have those 4 key concepts, I need to make sure that my themes align with my goals. So am I promoting a course? Am I promoting my email list? Am I pushing a product? Whatever your goal is, your content should be working for you, not just filling up your feed. So make sure that your content themes and the content that you create aligns with your goals so you can be intentional with the content that you create. Now, one thing I want to also say here is when you're coming up with these ideas, you need to make sure that it either addresses your target audience goals or obstacles, because that is going to be the only way that they will indulge in your content is if they feel like they can see themselves in the content that you created. Okay, so now that we have our concepts, or now we need to think about the creative that we want to use to create the content. Now, before we can do this, I it is important for you to identify how often can you commit to posting weekly. Is it 2 times per week? Is it 3 times per week? A sweet spot that I like to tell people to focus on is about 3 times per week, which means that for a month of content, you need 12 pieces of really good, relevant content. It's really important to try to experiment with different forms of content because a lot of people like to solely rely on reels because of the reach and all of the things, or rely solely on graphics. But the best strategy is to experiment and try a variety of creative. For example, if my goal is to post 3 times per week, then for week 1, I can do a reel with a B-roll with overlay text as my first idea. The second one could be a carousel post with photos of me working. And then the third could be a graphic. And if we keep this strategy up for the following 3 weeks, we will only need 4 B-rolls, 4 photos, and 4 graphics. Okay, simple math here. Which is going to bring us to our next step, which is to create your content in 3 hours or less. So now that we have our plan, it is time for us to get to work and start batch creating our content. And the first step that I want you to do is to capture B-roll and photo content. And the important thing here is to make sure that you're capturing content of doing what you do. So going back to my example, for instance, I am a content creator and I create content for people, which means that my content should be videos and photos of me creating content with people. Now, if you're one of those people that are asking me, well, what is a B-roll clip? No worries, my friend, okay? B-rolls are basically just candid videos of you doing whatever it is that you do. So for instance, if I take a 5-second clip of me typing on a computer or writing in a notebook, or even just talking to a client on video chat, those are all B-roll clips that could also be repurposed later on for months and months to come. So if you are a business coach or a consultant, the content you need to make sure that you're capturing in your photos and videos are content of you working with people, whether you're coaching or consulting. Now, you can also create a shot list and ask ChatGPT to help you to create a shot list for your shoot day. You can simply just use a prompt like, I'm a content creator that helps entrepreneurs create content to market their brands. I'm wanting to capture a month of content that I can use to promote my content creation packages and repurpose those content pieces for a later time. What are some photos and B-rolls that I can capture to help me market my services online? Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real. The algorithm is unpredictable and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on-brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building a email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout for that exclusive 50% off. Not only will this give you ideas, but it will also give you tips on how to shoot and pointers for shooting by yourself. So spend some time creating photos and videos of you doing what you do with your clients and make sure that it's relevant to what your business does. And remember, with this strategy that we have aligned out here, you only need 4 B-rolls, 4 photos at minimum, okay? So if you end up capturing more, that is amazing, but you really only need 4 to capture your whole month worth of content. Now, after you've created your photo and video content, the next thing you can do is log into Canva and create your graphics, or you can do what I do and just create a graphic in Instagram using something like I posted on Threads related to my business and adding like a relevant photo in the background. And this should take no more than 3 hours or more to create these 12 pieces of content here. We are keeping it short and simple, which brings us to our next step, which is editing. Now, if you're like me, you may also hate editing, okay? Or you may have found yourself being overwhelmed with the process of editing. And I want you to know that editing does not have to be difficult. All you have to do is keep it simple. So for your video content, to edit your B-rolls, you can do one or two things. One, you can create storytelling reels where you're taking those clips and you're creating a compilation of those clips to create one video. Or option two, you can create reels with your B-rolls, just simply adding overlay text. But keep in mind that if you decide to go with the compilation approach, this may take a little longer than just adding overlay text to your video clips, but it's still also an effective strategy. And if you need some ideas on what kind of overlay text that you should add to your B-rolls, I have a free guide called the 30 Days of Content Prompts, which is a guide that gives you examples of things that you can post with your content that you've already created. And you can grab it at cdcreativecodeagency.com/content. I'll also link it down below in the description box. But some of my favorite overlay text options are POVs or client testimonials or me sharing a lesson that I've learned or a mistake that I've made. But if you check out the free guide, there's tons of ideas to get you started and get the gears turning on what type of content you can use on your B-roll clips. Now, the name of the game here is to keep your editing to a minimum because the goal is to not burn out and not spend so much time creating content. My favorite tools that I like to use for editing video content are CapCut, but then sometimes on occasions I will edit my video clips in Instagram if I want to keep it super short and sweet. And then I also like to add all of my concepts to my drafts in Instagram, which is extremely helpful for the next step, which is writing my captions, hashtags, and scheduling my content in 1 hour. Now, in this step, we are going to be writing our captions, adding our hashtags, and scheduling our content in Instagram. Now, if you are using another social media platform, there are also third-party apps that you can use to help you schedule. But for today's example, I'm going to be using Instagram Scheduler solely.
Okay, real quick, if you've been showing up on socials and still not getting the results you want, I want you to listen up because I'm offering free social media audits exclusively for my Side Hustler listeners. If you're not sure if your page is actually attracting the right clients or if your content feels all over the place, or you just want to make sure that you're on the right track when it comes to building your brand, I got you. These audits are where I go in and I look at your page and I give you the personalized feedback on what's working, what needs to shift, and how to start creating content that actually converts. I'll also drop a few tips and strategies that most people aren't sharing because I want to see you win. And the best part about it, it's free, my friend. So head over to cdcreativecodeagency.com/audit and secure your audit today.
Now that all my content has been edited and loaded into my drafts, I can go in and schedule each piece of content based on the calendar. You want to make sure that in your captions, you have a call to action, which tells your audience what step you want them to take next. And you also want to make sure that you use at least 5 to 7 relevant hashtags. Also, another pointer that I want to make is include keywords in your caption because Instagram is now becoming more SEO optimized. So if you can use your critical keywords that are relevant to your brand, make sure that you have them in your caption to help your page and your content being seen by the people that are searching for those keywords. Now, here's a little secret that I like to share is that I like to have ChatGPT help me write my captions. I will specifically use the talk to text feature in the app and tell ChatGPT what the content is about, what I want my call to action to be, what kind of keywords to include, and what hashtags to use. Now, of course, before you use this caption, you want to make sure that it sounds like you and you want to make sure that it makes sense. And don't feel like you have to take the first caption that it gives you. Go back and forth until you get it right, but you want to make sure that this sounds like you wrote it and not a robot. But overall, this process for 12 pieces of content should only take you about an hour. And the last thing I want to hit on here is posting times. Now, although I'm not really consistent with sticking to the same time or the same day every time I post, I will say to try your best to post your content when your audience is more likely to do what it is that you're asking them to do. For example, if you're asking them to click on a link or you're asking them to purchase something, are they likely to do that at 6 a.m.? Probably not. So stick to a time that works best for your audience to take the action that you're asking them to do. Now, remember, this does not have to be done all in one day. If you're feeling ambitious and you want to go for it, then that sounds amazing. But if you would rather break it up over a couple of days, that's cool too. But find out what works best for you and make sure that you give yourself ample amount of time to plan before the new month rolls in. Whew. All right, my friend. I know that was a lot, but I hope this episode has showed you that content creation can really be simple and sustainable, even with everything you have on your plate. So here's a quick recap on what we covered today. The first step is I want you to start with a super focused brainstorming session for 1 hour to map out all of your monthly content themes. The next step, you're going to spend up to 3 hours to batch your content in one day by capturing B-rolls, photos, and graphics that align with your goals. Step 3 is you're going to keep your editing simple and focus on clarity and not perfection. Step 4, you're going to write your captions with purpose, include your call to actions, your keywords and hashtags, and schedule them with intention. Now, the biggest thing I want you to remember is you do not have to do it all to show up well. One thoughtful, strategic post a week is better than burning yourself out trying to post every single day. And if you need help getting started with your content, don't forget to grab my free guide, The 30 Days of Content Prompts, at cdcreativecoagency.com/content. It is packed with content ideas to help you confidently show up and promote your business without the stress. And if you enjoyed today's episode and would love to connect with me, let's connect on Instagram or Threads at Carly Dorlin. Slide into my DMs and let me know the biggest takeaway that you got from today's episode. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And thank you again for tuning in to the Call to Both podcast. I'm so honored I got to spend today with you, and I will see you online, my friend. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin. I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.